What's up? Appreciate everybody tuning in tonight. I have got the guys from Stone Deaf and Coffin and Bolt Records, some of my label mates on Golden Robot. What's up, fellas?
How you doing? Thanks for having us.
Of course, just hanging out and enjoying this snow we got in Kentucky right now. The first snow of the year happened like a day or two ago.
And we have no snow in Colorado.
It's funny because I've been here for like 2-3 years now, and it usually never snows here. And then like 2 days ago, I woke up and there's snow on the ground, and it's still here. So,
everybody's spinning out, driving. I lived in Nashville for a while, and
dude, it's the craziest thing because I grew up like an hour south of Pittsburgh. So if there was 3 feet of snow on the ground, we're still going to school. And these people around here, an inch of snow's on the ground, and they shut the whole fucking town down.
There's no bread, there's no milk.
Yeah, it's like I don't know what you guys are making just specifically with bread and milk, but whatever works for all of you guys. If it makes you feel safer while you're stuck at home while there's an inch of snow on the road, so be it. Yeah. So you guys, which part of Colorado are you guys in?
Western Slope, so it's like Glenwood Springs area, which is about an hour west of Aspen.
Okay. Cool. Any of y'all into skiing?
Oh yeah.
Nice.
Absolutely.
Very nice. Cool. Now, the way these videos usually always start is me staring at my phone for a few seconds so I can get everything shared on the pages. And I'm tagging you guys. I tag Stone Deaf and Coffin and Bold in the live video as well right now. So I'm going to share that, and we will be ready to jump in. All right, I got it shared. So everybody can tune in and join on the Facebook with us.
Awesome.
So I know we were supposed to talk last week, and, with the holiday and everything, we just worked it out for this week. So, glad to have y'all on here, and I appreciate y'all giving me some of your time.
Come on, we can say it was my cat got sick. We can say that.
Hey, that's okay. Hey, my cat was also dealing with some shit that same day, so it was really weird how that timing worked out.
Yeah.
So,
How's your kitty doing?
Doing fine, doing perfect. I think he's actually doing better than he was before, so that could be a bad thing. He's raising too much hell now.
Just takes a hit on the head, right?
Yeah, and it was the craziest thing, and I could see the claw marks in the curtain, which is what led me to believe what happened. So when I'm cooking dinner, my cats go fucking crazy, so I stick them in the bathroom while I'm cooking.
Oh, yeah.
And stuck them in there, and then I heard this big thump go in there, and the cat's on the ground all fucked up, and I'm assuming so my curtain in the bathroom window is super high up. It's one of those, privacy windows or whatever. And I think he bumped his fucking head on the toilet whenever he jumped off. And, he was
like from Indiana Jones.
Yeah, he was pretty messed up for a day or two, man. And but luckily he's back to, just being annoying as fuck now. So no, I'm just kidding. I love my cats.
No, that's how we love them.
Of course, they're in the bathroom right now. I'll stick them in there for every one of these interviews and give them blankets and their food and shit. Because if not, I swear they would be just raising hell behind me this entire time. If you go look at the first interview I did whenever Minefield started over the summer with Mike Brunn, you could see my cat literally just climbing up my amps and shit the whole time behind me, just so you know, distracting as hell. So, but they're comfortable in the bathroom, and they hang out in there, and they don't make any noise while they're in there. So I got the curtain where the cat can't get up there again. So I think we're good to go.
Awesome, man.
Well, cool. So you guys just had a new single come out last week, Cloven Hoof. Did I say that correctly?
Yep.
Well, cool. Talk to me a little bit about this song.
Who wants to go with that?
Just gonna go.
I mean, it's as far as getting into specific meanings of songs. I always liked bands that the lyrics were there for you to kind of interpret into your own story. This one was it's the lead off song for the upcoming record, and just sort of a heavy duty number. There wasn't anything, it's cooler for people to just paint their own pictures a lot of times,
Of course.
Unless you're Gordon Lightfoot or whatever, then.
Yeah, it's always, that's something when people ask me about lyrics or something like that, I kind of give the same thing. It's I don't want to set a basis for what I might interpret it as, because, you know, it could mean something else to anybody, and I don't want to take away from that experience that it might make for them, because they're like, well, I was wrong for how I felt about this song, so I just don't want to make any about that. So I can totally respect that answer.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you know, in the 90s or whatever, there were bands like Fugazi that never even made videos. They never even did videos, and I always loved that, because it was like, I just had my own life memories and soundtrack to everything, you know, my whole personal interpretation of it. And I mean, videos were cool, obviously, but they were one of those bands that were like, no, we're not doing any of that shit. And
that's the funny part about music videos. Sometimes if you haven't seen the band yet and you hear their music all the time, you have this fucking picture of what you think they look like, and then you see a video and it's like, right? You see the video and you're like, that is not at all how I pictured this band looking.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's some bands that absolutely need it, obviously, and in these days you got to film yourself walking in and out the door, getting in your car, you know, to get any attention anywhere. So
yeah, you got to have as much shit to pump all over your social media as possible, because everybody seems to have the attention span of a fucking squirrel nowadays. So you gotta
content.
Oh yeah, content. That is the name of the game nowadays. It's a little reason that kind of what led me to start doing this, and it seems to be working out okay. So I get to talk to cool guys like you. So there's really no bad part of all of it.
no, this is genuine content, you know.
Yeah,
there's a lot of stuff.
It's the stuff that occurs in 30-second increments that typically becomes a little disgusting.
Yeah, you know, it's people baiting for certain stuff, and I try to, you know, even when I've got some of the like bigger guys from like the 80s that I've had on the show and stuff, I always stay away from those topics, you know, that might stir something, or, you know, those we all know those journalists that specifically go for those clickbait questions, and it's like, to me, this is just five of us hanging out and having a good time tonight, and we're just going to spread some information about what we're all doing. So,
and they've all been asked that shit a million times.
Yeah, you know, if you're interviewing, just take Slash for example, you don't want to hear about why Guns N' Roses broke up for the 500th fucking time. So,
exactly.
You know,
and he doesn't want to say it either. You know?
Yeah, I like kind of getting more of a personal side, and, you know, kind of learning more about the person, and, you know, what kind of makes their clock tick and everything.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. So you guys also have your own label, which is a sub-label now of Golden Robot. Talk to me a little about the decision to start your guys' own label, because we know that there's tons and tons of labels, so to speak, and it's a pretty big market, and there's a lot of work that goes into it. So talk to me about that whole experience.
So pretty much, you know, I think we've had this idea and for Coffin and Bolt for maybe a little over a year, and it kind of spurred off of our last album. We were shopping around and, you know, trying to find who will do what, and we were trying to find a home for it pretty much, and we didn't really know what to do with it. So we ended up deciding, like, well, let's do it ourselves, you know. And that we originally just put our last album, Royal Burnout, out, and you know, did PR and stuff.
2 or 3 years, Cody.
2 years, yeah. Holy shit, yeah.
Yeah, you can lose track of shit like that all the time. It's like, has it really been this long since I've released any music like that? So, yeah.
Maybe almost 3 years now, but
nice.
So, yeah, we did that, and then we had the idea of, you know, what can we do for other bands too? And we kind of wanted to create like a rock community. Was our whole idea behind, you know, starting it in the first place, and just trying to take bands that we liked and loved and that we believed in their music and stuff like that. And, you know, at first we were doing it just on a small scale, and, you know, we don't have a ton of money to put into it. And, you know, fast forward to now, like 6 months ago, we started talking with Mark, trying to do, you know, Stone Deaf, and still getting this album out. And we were just about to release it and put it out ourselves. And then Mark jumped on board with our plans. So that's kind of the fast story of it.
A lot of the bands were bands we tour mainly West Coast, like California, Nevada, New Mexico,
Very
Arizona,
cool.
Kentucky. So we kind of stay in that region, and a lot of the bands in Colorado, of course. So most of the bands right off the bat were bands that we had played with and that we knew. And we kept thinking like these bands have the melodic kind of verse, chorus thing seems to be like missing in a lot of stuff, in the metal, not all metal scene. And even if it doesn't have that, it's cool. But we sort of were hearing all these bands that were like, why aren't they getting any push or a label or anything? I guess you could take it back a little bit to 90s stuff. Early 90s had, people were spoiled with the bands,
Yeah.
I mean, you had a lot of metal that was still existing from the 80s that was great, and then all the grunge stuff coming in, and we didn't know how spoiled we were.
Yeah, the 90s are such a crazy decade to think about because you had so many new artists coming up in the grunge scene and the metal scene, but then you kind of saw a resurgence from some of the heritage acts, which they weren't technically heritage acts at that point, that kind of, like Aerosmith, who found a lot of success in the 90s, and other bands like that. So it's such a crazy decade to think about. And like you say, you're very spoiled if you were around during that time period.
I mean, to think that, you had things from, you still had a band like Guns N' Roses relevant, but then to have Nirvana and then Tad and Mudhoney and then the punk scene was huge too. You had bands like, Fugazi, and then weird ass bands like Ween coming along. I mean, what happened? It's weird how it.
Well, I think the internet had a lot to do with all that. And man, I'm the biggest advocate that the internet is the greatest and the worst thing to ever be invented. And there's so many good things that could come out of it, but at the same time, it kind of waters down the market. And then you have streaming, which just kind of fucking ruined the whole, the process of making a record and everything. And I'm not saying it ruined it totally. It's just kind of adapting to it, and it's just a whole different game than what it used to be.
I mean, like it or not, Lars was right.
Lars was totally right, and as much as everybody talks shit about him at that time, it's like he had a pretty good insight into the future.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think I was talking to somebody the other day that I think the most ironic thing of all of that is nowadays Napster has the highest payout of any of the streaming services. Yeah, out of like Spotify or YouTube or anything, Tidal, Napster pays out more than any other streaming.
I didn't even know it was still a thing.
Yeah, it's kind of like Spotify now. So it's been around since that time period, the late 90s, 2000s, whenever that shit started happening. But they've adapted their game as well, which we all know how that kind of went for them. Cool. So talk to me a little about the decision and the process of, merging with Golden Robot and becoming one of their sub-labels. How did that exactly, I know you mentioned that it had to do with reaching out about releasing your guys' Stone Deaf record with them, and then that ended up happening. So talk to me about that process.
Quick. I think that really sums it up. It moved very, very quickly. I mean, we started talking with Mark. It was like, okay, let's just move quickly and get this done. And so I think a lot of the thought process came around. I mean, like similar to what Cody was saying, is like we really wanted to build a community of like-minded musicians who just really were passionate about their music and just looking to get it out there. And working with Golden Robot really gave us this avenue to spread that net much, much further than what we would be able to do on our own. And even outside of like just the scene specific stuff that we're typically associated with, just the ability to get out there more and get to a different audience, and to get, like, there's a lot of rock fans out there, but it's not like okay, stoner rock guys, you know, listening to the same blog sites, the same, you know, this little microcosm of the larger rock world, like they love other stuff too. You know, they love listening to other styles of rock music, but it's like everything feels like very compartmentalized to a certain extent at times. And so this was really that opportunity is like, yeah, still have that base. You need that base of those really passionate fans within that niche, like breaking down those walls a little bit and being able to reach a wider variety of rock fans and even fans that maybe don't consider themselves rock fans, but hear something that just really catches and then they're drawn to it immediately. And the 90s are a great example of that. It's like Nirvana comes out, not everyone's, you know, loving distorted guitars and the guy screaming like he's got broken glass in his throat, you know, but you hear some of those riffs and they resonate and they stay with you. It's like, and you love it. And it's like, I don't love rock, but I love that because like it invokes something emotionally. Like that's what rock music does. That's why, you know, I think a lot of us love it so much. Like something hit that switch. Is like, now I'm a fan for life. And there's a lot of people out there that don't know what they don't know, and you just got to get it in front of them. And catering to the tiny little box of the same old guys, same dudes in the club or whomever it is, like, yeah, that's great. And there is absolutely nothing wrong with that, but we wanted to do something different and reach out further. And so that was a really big key thing with working with Golden Robot, was the ability to do that. And then Mark's enthusiasm for wanting to push those buttons and do things different and think outside the box and look at it differently, and passionate about the music. So it was just one of those really serendipitous situations where you walk into it, it's like, holy shit, this is going to work. And this is a great situation for everyone involved.
Yeah. Of course.
I mean, I think the thing is, I always go back to the Foo Fighters. Like their fan base is mega, and obviously Dave Grohl is like the president of rock and roll.
Yeah, and you know, there's people that like the Foo Fighters. Their fan base is one of the most diverse fan bases ever. There's people that listen to hip hop that still like the Foo Fighters. There's people that listen to country that love the Foo Fighters. It's everybody fucking loves the Foo Fighters.
that just means that there still is a population that likes good heavy verse chorus rock music. You know, I always tell our bands, like, there's no reason you shouldn't be on a playlist next to the Foo Fighters or whatever, you know, like
absolutely.
It's getting into that, like crossing the line, and not necessarily just being, you know, a lot of people are protective of their scene because they want it to be, it's their crew, it's their friends, it's their family, it's their back pocket bands.
Yeah.
You know? And so from the beginning, we were always like, we've got to figure out how to do something outside of the box and hit other crowds of people, you know?
Of course. And, you know, that's a good song is always going to be a good song. So I think when you get to that, not necessarily, you know, you talk about the verse, chorus, you can definitely use that formula without just having, you know, the kind of robot mainstream commercial sounds. So, and Foo Fighters are a perfect example of that. I love that you brought them up because Dave Grohl, he's got his songwriting and he's got that shit down to a science, man. Every song that those guys write is a fucking hit. So
you look at some of their records, you're like, man, like 8 of these songs were on the radio.
Yeah,
you know,
they're all hits.
You have Paranoid in the background, and like the record hanging out there. And that's a point that I always make, is that there's a lot of the bands in the heavy scene who are huge Sabbath fans. And I always think, like, I wish some of them would try to write a Paranoid.
Yeah. You
know what I mean? Like, just because a lot of times the songs are 10 minutes long, and that's awesome too. You know, it's vibe and it's atmosphere and stuff.
Paranoid's like maybe 2.5 minutes long.
Yeah, and I would just love to hear some of those bands who are so talented, like.
And Paranoid's another one of those records where a lot of those songs were played on the radio too.
Exactly, but the thing is too, but on that record, if you look at the diversity of basically having Paranoid, which is a pop song.
Yeah.
You know, and then War Pigs. I mean, You know, they said, fuck it, let's write whatever the hell we want. Where a lot of bands are kind of like, we need to write exactly what we're writing the whole time, you know, like stay in our lane.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's what's cool about a band like Queen. They could sound like Jimi Hendrix and then Prince and then Neil Diamond, you know?
Yeah.
And, yeah, it's
Absolutely.
cool.
So I think including Stone Deaf, I think there are 9 bands on Coffin Bolt Records, if I'm correct. So talk to me, is that able to give you guys more of, you know, like a hands-on approach, you know, since you don't have maybe 15 or 20 bands on the label, you've got 9, including yourself. So you can kind of give each of these bands more of the attention that they need.
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole point of what we're trying to start out, is just make sure, you know, everyone's taken care of in the beginning. Make sure that, you know, we're in check too. But like Scott and Dustin were saying, all these bands are our friends and have been our friends from touring and stuff like that. And so it's pretty important to us that we make sure that we do what's right for them and take care of them before we just start, you know, going into far reaches and trying to pull out stuff. So, you know, that's really our focus right now, is making sure that, you know, we start getting everybody's music out and it's taken care of. And
We kind of have
sure.
a goal of like 15 bands at the moment. And then we've got a couple on deck. And,
Okay.
you know, and then at that point, that's sort of a good foundation. It doesn't mean we won't sign more, but I think at that point we've taken care of the core. And then we can just kind of take what comes along that we all agree on. And that's one thing with all of us, is that we're able to be like, yeah, that's badass, or like, maybe that's not right for us. We have a really easy working relationship, I'll say that. So
Nice.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that's something that resonated well with Mark, you know, because Mark loves having a hands-on approach with all of his bands, you know, like just my relationship with them. It's like you can go to Golden Robots roster and you see bands like LA Guns and King's X and Rose Tattoo, some really heavy hitting bands on those roster. But Golden Robot is still able to make you feel like you are equally as important as all of those bands that are on the label, regardless if, you know, your band is full of superstars, or if, you know, it's just a couple regular guys putting out their first album or something. So, you know, it's
that was one thing right off the bat, meeting with him. You know, we're all like sitting there like, I like him, I fucking like that guy, he's cool. You know?
Yeah, he's got a no bullshit mentality, and, you know, his enthusiasm comes across as very genuine, and he seems to do well in making decisions. So a very good guy all around.
Yep, absolutely.
100%. 100%. Like it 100%.
Oh yeah, of course. So talk to me a little bit about how you guys, you know, are able to put your energy equally into Stone Deaf and running a label at the same time.
Oof. It's a lot of work.
I try and suck all my energy away from everyone else. Mostly Kate, because he's a wild person on drums and he has too much energy. So I just suck all my energy away from him.
Nice.
I don't think he heard you.
I don't think he did.
The drummer's got enough energy to go around for everybody.
KP does talk. Like, he says stuff, but
I know, I'm waiting for him to say the most interesting shit.
I think when we get back to band stuff.
That was a segue into, here you go.
Thanks.
Well, cool. That is kind of a good segue. So I do want to kind of start touching on the band a little bit. So if you can, for everybody that's listening, I would like you guys to go around, say your name, say what you do in the band.
I'm Dust. I play guitar and sing or yell or whatever.
Nice.
I'm Cody. I play bass.
I'm Scott. I play guitar and keys.
I'm KP. I just drum, man. That's all I do with Stone Deaf. I just sit in my little spot and play drums. It's nice.
Hey man, it sounds simple, but you would be surprised how much it means.
He's emotional support also.
bust their ass with like band stuff and the label and just learning songs and learning what they want to do. It's constant. So I guess on either side, you know, there's always work going on with this, which is great. You know, you never really feel completely satisfied. So you're always just kind of pushing to get to that point, which is great.
I think that's good though, when you kind of always have that hungriness and you're never just sitting back like, okay, this is it. I can just kind of relax, you know. You never really want to hit that pinnacle with your work. And of course, when that's a little different when you know you've been in the business for like 40 or 50 years or something, you've kind of earned that right. But, you know, just kind of having that hungriness, I think is kind of what separates a lot of people. And that sentiment of, you know, never feeling like a day's work is done is kind of universal in successful people.
I think I probably have not hung out with, you know, 3 other people with these guys who nothing's ever done. Everybody's like, I mean, the amount of collective work that we all get done is huge. Not just band, but our lives, everything. I mean, everybody's super driven. And there's never any like, hey, can you help with this? And somebody's like, no, man, you know, we don't do that. It's like, we all look at it like this is the work that has to get done. And if we want to get there, wherever that is, we have to do it. And so nobody's like, oh, I was playing video games all night or, you know, whatever. It's like everybody's just grinding constantly. It's cool. It's lucky and very fortunate, you know.
Of course. Great stuff. So I read up on your guys' bio a little bit, and it said that the band was formed in 2014. And it said the first release was written and I think recorded entirely by you, Dustin.
Yeah. So I like to be mellow I like to be humble about it, but it's kind of a cool story.
This is your
Like,
moment to brag. Bring it on, man.
Right. No, I'm not virtuoso or anything. It was just a cool idea. Like Cody and I played in a band called Black Magic Darkness in like 2011 or 12.
Nice.
And it was pretty like Sword, Mastodon.
Nice.
And we still, that's always on the back burner. We have another record almost done. We did a full length and an EP, but then we kind of just took a break from that. And so what I was thinking was I had this experiment in mind. I grew up playing in punk rock bands and touring, like, you know, sleeping by the litter box, no money, like
Of
taking
course.
ramen on tour. But always in those days, you know, we would only have maybe $200 or $300 to go record. So you'd have to really have your shit down and just go knock it out in a live take.
Yeah.
But I was kind of like by myself at that point, and I came up with this idea that I would do songs where I have a studio in my house. So I basically gave myself one day to write and record an entire song, all the parts. I mean, the lyrics, everything. And by midnight that day, whatever wasn't done, it was like, too bad, that's it. You can't add anything else.
Nice.
And the time frame was 2 weeks to get the whole thing done. So I would come down in the morning, you know, with coffee and just start with a riff and then do the drums. And it was kind of a mad dash.
How many songs did you end up doing for that?
I think it was 11 total.
Oh, wow.
One was just an acoustic, like instrumental, but, and I think, were there 8 on the record maybe? And then I think I've got 2 leftovers that, you know, might be B-sides, or if we reissue it on vinyl or something, we'll throw those on it.
Of course. And, you know, Golden Robot loves their vinyl. So I could definitely see something like that happening.
Yeah. So that was the story with that. And then Cody had heard that stuff and was like, man, let's do this. Let's play this stuff. And we did. And then, you know, we were doing that for a while with another drummer. Great dude, just didn't work out. And then Scott came into the fold. And then we ended up meeting KP, who was way gung-ho for everything. And it was just, it's the easiest band I've ever had. You know?
Nice. And finding 3 or 4 grown men who can agree on everything is such
Oh, no
such
shit.
a fucking task. And you might not always agree 100% on everything, but when you have a common goal at the end, you compromise is something that's part of the process.
The weird thing is we almost do. You know? I mean,
Nice.
like when we're on tour, it's like everyone's just like, where do you want to eat? Don't care. Let's go somewhere. Or they're just all scared of me or something.
There's a reason we all wear long sleeves because of Dustin's abuse.
There's bruises all over you.
But no, we all, it's a great working environment. I have issue with Dustin's taste in beer. It's questionable, but I mean that's.
What are you an IPA guy?
I am. I'm an IPA guy.
Okay.
He's a solid. Well, I don't want to say it because I just feel like it's hurtful to say it out loud. But he wants to divulge it. It's fine. I'm not going to though. But
I don't like hangovers. I'll say that.
Yeah, I haven't drank since like January of this year, but I was always a big IPA guy. I loved them. And everybody is always like, you don't actually like IPAs. You're just forcing yourself to drink. It's like, no, I actually enjoy drinking this stuff.
You're really good.
As they're doing like 4 shots of fucking vodka or something. It's like, there's no way you like that. So
I'm a Mexican beer and tequila guy. That's what I.
Oh man. You said you don't like hangovers, but you like tequila?
No,
what the fuck is that about?
Because if you buy a good bottle of tequila, you're sipping it. You're not pounding it.
That's debatable. I'll let it slide for now, just because we got other stuff to talk about. But I'm on the fence about that a little.
$100 bottle of tequila, you gotta sip that, man.
Yeah, you see, anytime tequila always got put in front of me, it's like, nope, I'm downing this as quick as I fucking can because I am not a tequila guy. I did not like any of the light liquor like vodka or tequila or any of that shit for the most part. I always like whiskey and bourbon. No, I'm in Kentucky, man, so bourbon's kind of just like part of your DNA over here.
Yeah. Well, I have family in Lynchburg, Tennessee.
Oh, nice. I'm not going to pretend like I know where that's at. So.
Well, it's where Jack Daniels is made.
Oh, okay.
So there's a lot of pride in Jack Daniels.
Okay. Yeah. Nice. Yeah. My geography is, as much as I travel and play music, sometimes I'm not as familiar with places as I probably should be. And the thing is, I've probably been there a billion times or something.
Well, that one just comes off because everybody stared cross-eyed at Jack Daniels.
Nice. Hey, KP, talk to me a little bit about coming on board with these guys. It's like they said, they had a different drummer before you. So talk to me about the process of linking up with these dudes.
It was actually kind of weird, man. I mean, a band I was in before, we actually played a show with Stone Deaf, and we played right before them. And a mutual buddy that we have messaged me one day and was like, hey, man, they really liked how you perform. They're going to hit you up to see if you want to go on this tour, blah, blah, blah. And it was like, all right, cool, because with music stuff, people say a lot of shit, but don't really back it up. So, but they did. And Dust hit me up and was like, hey, man, we need a hired gun, essentially, for this tour for a week. We're going to go tour Texas, play by Southwest, going to be gone 8 days, come tour with us. So not knowing these dudes, not even 2 months, I was like, you know what, fuck it, let's go. So we went, had a blast. Like that.
What year was this?
I want to say it was March of 2019.
Okay, so pretty recent.
Yeah, so I mean, I just now kind of hit the 2-year mark of kind of knowing these guys, so that's been great. But we went on that first tour and came back, and it wasn't even a week or 2 later. Dustin, that's the funny thing about this. I was never really asked to join Stone Deaf. I was pretty much told, hey, change your social medias to say that you're.
I think that whole first tour, Cody and I were looking at each other and just like, holy shit, dude, holy shit! Like, we felt like we hit the jackpot with KP.
It's always nice when you find drummers like that, because you know some of them some drummers are good, but it's hard to lock into them sometimes if your playing style isn't really the same. So just because they sound great in one band doesn't mean they're going to work in another for the most part. And you could say that about any of the musicians in any band.
Well, he's a great drummer, and we also we all know playing is only half of it. Sitting in the van together is the other half, and
of course,
we love hanging out with each other. You know, it's like just put Joe Dirt or Borat on.
That was a big part of it. Was like we hit KP up, asked him, you know, would you be interested in doing this? Blah blah blah. Here's the songs. He came down and he had them all down.
Nice.
Like every song, and then we practiced maybe like 2 or 3 more times, and then we went on a tour for a week.
Yeah, it was
like it was so smooth, and like we all became best friends. Like it was.
And that's the thing that most fans don't realize. It's like the show only lasts anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour, or maybe 2 hours, depending on what kind of gigs you're playing. It's like the other 23 and a half hours a day, you guys are fucking stuck with each other, so you better get along for the most part.
Yeah, we've all been in bands where it's like you're sitting in the van and you're like, dude, if you fart again, we're pulling over.
Mine's always shit that makes me feel like an absolute lunatic. Like I've got like misophonia like crazy, so just like people just like eating or just chewing or just whispering shit like that, dude. It makes me lose.
Oh, that is
Let's hear it.
Yeah.
Let's hear it. Let it run.
Oh.
So the tour before that, we finished the show, and we had a really good friend of ours come tour with us. And we got food after the show, and he was sitting in the back seat.
I already don't like where this is going. Yeah. Man,
we still love him.
Like, yeah, we still love him, but
it's like we are all about to beat the shit out of you right now if you do not stop that immediately.
It was the most in sync head turn Dustin and I have ever had. We're just like,
dude, it's crazy. Eating around other people is just like something that it takes a lot of my fucking energy out.
Okay, so here's my version of hell. A hot hotel breakfast room.
Oh no!
Where everyone's eating corn on the cob.
Oh god! Yeah, that's
no, man.
That just pissed me off thinking about it.
People in the morning in the first place is a no for me, and
yeah, there was man, and sometimes those breakfasts at the hotels are fucking rough the next morning. As I remember one time, it was like my second time being on tour in New York City, and you know when you're on tour, you're trying to save money. So if they've got that complimentary breakfast, it doesn't matter if you just went to bed at 5 or 6. You were down there at 8:30 or 9 eating, because that might be your only meal for the day. And
that's part of our planning. You know, is hitting hotels that have some kind of breakfast.
Of course, it saves so much in your budget. And I remember one time, literally, I had maybe went to bed at like 6 o'clock that morning, and breakfast was from like 8 to 9, and ended up going down there, and the place is full because I mean we're in Brooklyn, so the place is like booked to the gills. And I made my plate of food, and I'm still like in a like daze of just waking up and on like 2 hours of sleep. I'm walking back to the little like table with my guys, and I like stumbled and just fucking spilled all my food. And it was probably the most upset I have ever been in my life. And I think I ended up not eating and just going back to my room. I was so fucking mad about that.
yeah. If you're hungover too, it makes things so much worse.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's but yeah, that's a good thing to do if you're on the road. Find those hotels that have those complimentary breakfasts.
Yeah. Those little tips we've talked about putting together, you know, some kind of video of like tour tips for bands.
That's a good idea. And maybe if we're ever allowed to go play shows again, then
exactly.
You know, it'll be a good thing to do.
I mean, there's a lot of people who don't even know how to, you know, make sure their tire pressure in their van is right. And, you know, just all those little things that you got to think about before you hit the road. So you're not screwed out.
Yeah, because you see so many of those instances on social media where
Yeah.
a band gets into like a week or two of their tour and they're like, our fucking van broke down because we didn't think to check everything before we put 10,000 miles on it in a week.
Yeah. Exactly.
Cool. So Dustin, this is a little off topic, but it was in your guys' bio, and it kind of said that you guys were able to relate on a couple of things. So, it said that your mom was a close friend of Hunter S. Thompson.
Yeah.
Tell me as much about that as you can, just real quick.
Well, I mean, most of the people around here, like, I grew up around Aspen and Basalt. Like, I don't know if you're familiar with the area at all, but Aspen's always been a super rich area.
Yeah.
And as you come down valley, you have like the working people. Now that's all changed, where it's just rich people, rich people, rich people. And you end up an hour away if you want something you can afford. But so yeah, I mean, I kind of not regret, but it was wild. That's all I'll say. Not all I'll say, but I mean let's just say, like, she had boyfriends who got him things he needed here and there, and had been shot at, like pulling up, and just a lot of people around here kind of have wild Hunter Thompson stories. And as I was a teenager, it was always like, come on up to Hunter's or something. And being a kid, I was always like, you guys are fucking crazy. I'm not going anywhere. I didn't want to be around him in the first place. Now I kind of wish I would have taken those opportunities.
That is fucking great.
It's there's a lot of wild shit that I grew up with, and that.
Well, cool. We'll talk about that off air later.
Yeah. But no, it's a cool connection, and I mean it's a unique part of this story. And sometimes I wonder how many people even know who he is anymore at times. It's sort of a culty thing, it seems like, but in this valley, a lot of people always knew, I mean, people like Hunter Thompson and even like Bill Murray would just be hanging out,
That's great.
Yeah, Aspen used to kind of be the place where people like that came to not be harassed, or recognized, or noticed, or whatever. So, I mean, obviously Hunter lived here, but he's kind of part of the fabric of the area back then.
Of course. So, like you said, Cloven Hoof is the first single off the new record that you guys are going to put out. Do we have a timeline kind of for when we can expect some more music in the album to drop?
Anyone else?
Yeah, February is when the next single is going to be coming out.
Okay.
And then April is when this bad boy. This is the shirt. You can get them soon. It'll be as awesome as me. It's tough.
Limited edition.
Killers is the album. Be coming out in April. But yeah, the next single will be coming out in February.
And
Nice.
we are doing it on vinyl and everything. And
Cool. So talk to me about how the process for this record might be a little different than the past couple ones that you guys did.
Cody.
We trying to think. We pretty much had a record done before this record. Is I guess what's different about it. And
Oh yeah. That was kind of how that went. Was we finished up a record, but it was really, there were a lot of keys and just all kinds of stuff on it that we kind of really couldn't figure out how we were going to do all that live. Scott had taken a break from playing with us for a while, so we had that record done, and we were like without another guitar player or keyboard player. There was a lot of shit to fill in. So when we had gone on tour with KP again, we were thinking about it in this way that we're like, there's a lot of places you play that are really small, And so we wanted to write songs that were sort of catering to 50 cap clubs, you know, that was just like, these are going to be easy to like translate, you know, in a small club, maybe with a shitty PA and whatever. We just wanted to get back to sort of just simple riffs and like very definable parts. And so Cody and I just started writing another record at that point. And then that's sort of when KP came on board. And so that morphed into what Killers is. And that's the one coming out. So there is still another entire record on deck for
Okay.
ready to go after that. So
Nice. So you guys kind of have your work cut out for you for the future right now.
yeah, I mean, we have a good system of being able to get stuff recorded. There's a like I said, studio in my house, and we're just always we're able to pass stuff back and forth through like Logic and GarageBand and all that, and just keep the ideas going.
Nice. So, KP, I think you said that on that first tour that you did with these guys, you guys played South by Southwest. What was that kind of like, you know, the first time you played with a band playing something like South by Southwest?
It was very awesome. You know, it's very exciting, especially since you're going to places that you haven't ever really been before. So a brand new experience, you don't know what the hell could happen. Just go for it. You know, why the hell not? But we got there, and the thing that I remember about Austin is just how beautiful it is. You know, because Texas is a big ass state where you can drive 12 hours and still be in the same guy. Right? But everywhere we went, it was different. You know, you can tell where you're at. So with something like South by, it was really neat to pull in and you see the traffic, you know, of what that brings into that city every year. So you definitely get that vibe, but it was awesome. You know, we played, I thought we kicked ass, you know, it was just one of those shows that you just go kick ass and play. And kind of to what Dust was saying before, that's what I really like about this band too, being in it, is there's a lot of little things, you know, like keys and stuff that set up cues that you got to learn. But this band is very, very bare bones. There is a very, I should say, quote unquote, like punk rock feel to it. You know, you just put on your instrument, you just go kick ass. And that's pretty much how it works. But with something like South by, you know, you kind of have that extra pressure, but a song or two into it, it's just it's normal, you know, nothing really changed.
Yeah.
So
nice.
But,
had any of you guys played South by Southwest before that time?
I hadn't. I've played Austin quite a bit, but never South by at all.
So how many showcases did you guys do while you were down there?
Just one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because, you know, there's some people that they'll go down there and they'll play more shows at South by Southwest than they fucking do the rest of the year on their regular touring schedule.
Yeah.
We pretty much did 7 days through Texas and did a showcase through our way through.
Very nice.
Yeah, it was cool. I love Texas, man. That place it's amazing. Great people. Just
Joe Rogan just moved there, so it has to be some kind of cool.
No shit.
The king of podcasts right now. So
yeah. Bropra.
Yeah. That's funny. I haven't heard that. That's great. So,
like him, by the way.
Yeah, of course, you know, and he has such a diverse crowd that he gets on there of just a wide range of guests. So it makes for some interesting topics sometimes.
Oh, definitely. Did you happen to see when Josh Homme was on there?
I have not watched that one. I have not, and I normally watch. I stay pretty up to date with them for the most part. I haven't watched some of the more recent ones. Like I have not even attempted to watch the Kanye West ones. So
I don't know.
That's interesting.
Man, because I heard the same sentiment from everybody that watched. They're like, I made it like 20 minutes into it, and I just fucking gave up. And I was like, well, I'm not gonna fucking torture myself for no reason. Because I can very much expect, I can guess how the conversation goes for the most part.
I voted for him, so I should probably.
That's fucking awesome. Holy shit. Might as well, you know, with all
You know
the crazy.
shit.
Yeah, it's might as well. That should have been the campaign slogan for Kanye. Might as well.
I don't know if you know Phil Collins was also on the ballot, but
No shit. I did not know that.
obviously not the real Phil Collins.
Oh, okay. I was like, how
There was a Phil
how the
Collins.
fuck did that slip through the media?
No, there was a Phil Collins on there, and I was like, man, Phil Collins or Kanye, shit, these decisions are hard.
Yeah, what a great political time to have in America right now. Cool. So, talk to me a little bit about some of the bands that you guys have on Coffin and Bolt, and kind of what each of them bring to the record label. If you can just kind of summarize it.
Bring up our list and I can talk about them as I like to look at their pictures so I can.
Yeah, it brings back, you know, the pictures are a big part of it. Once you see the band, that's part of the experience.
I guess start with Messiah Vor and Lost Relics because we've released music from them in the last week and Monday. They're both bands from Denver. They're both bands that we've played with a bunch of times in Denver. Really good friends of ours. Should I say I was going to say something. Lost Relics, Jess, we met him through, this is a big like roundabout thing here. We playing shows with this guy, Paul Valley, and his band, King Chiefs. We're gonna release music for them in the future, not there yet, but he was playing drums with us and he told us about this guy that he knew on tour. His name was Jess, that he'd met, and we met him at the show that we played with him in Denver, and then we immediately all became friends, and then we ended up playing a bunch of shows with Lost Relics, and they're heavy and they're no bullshit, but they're fucking awesome. And so we just, you know, we thought it was a no-brainer to, you know, see if they wanted to work with us and try and do what we can for them. And they were super stoked to be part of the family. And also Messiah Vor, the other band, they're another band from Denver. And we met them kind of the same way. I think we got put on a show with either Lost Relics and Messiah Vor, or we got asked to play some show, or we asked to play a show. I'm not exactly sure how we met them, but we, you know, just played a show and then immediately became friends with them, and they all know each other really well. And that's kind of how we met those two. And we've just, every chance we get, we try and play with them, and we love their music. They're both heavy and awesome and melodic, and
yeah. Those guys both, like, kind of the ringleaders of both of those bands. Like Jess was in a band called Low Gravity, which is like, there's some legendary in our scene bands from back in the day in Denver, you know, Lords of Fuzz, Low Gravity. I mean, the Amputators was one. Though a lot of those bands were on a label called Sailor Records. That's sort of a, you know, the big deal in Denver. And then Bart McCrory from Messiah Vor was in a lot of punk bands that were, you know, doing good shit back in the day in Denver. He still does a lot of that. So both of them were scene dudes for sure, you know, and just, they know how to do it right. They know how to treat other bands. They know how to respect the scene, and just, it's kind of like a no-brainer to sign those guys. And, you know, obviously we love their music, but, you know, they're just doing it right. And then you continue. Cody just kind of curated the thing with getting Beastwood on the label too. That was one of the most recent signings. So.
Oh yeah, that was so we met those guys playing a show with Lost Relics and Messiah Vor.
Yeah.
And they're from Wyoming, and you know, they're all friends, and we met them, and you know, we just loved them, and we got, you know, we made friends with them super fast, and we kept in touch the whole time, and they're super supportive. They, you know, they're really supportive of all the bands. They share everything, and it's really important, you know, for everyone to do that. And it just, you know, they have a new EP coming out, and we're trying to get that out right now. That's kind of the next step on deck for us, besides another Stone Deaf single. But
well, we have Full Tone Generator from Australia, who is also just, I mean, all of our bands, I want to listen to every one, you know. It's like, and you should be that way with a label, but I mean, it sometimes I look at our roster and I'm like, oh damn, there, you know. And so Full Tone Generator have a song coming out that they did with Nick Oliveri, Queens of the Stone Age, The Dwarves, Mondo Generator.
Of course,
And,
yeah.
yeah, that's out on the 8th. And
Very nice.
yeah, they're just, I mean, and then we have Mazoa from from San Diego. And those are guys we knew from touring also. And then Laserbeam from Phoenix. Amigos from San Diego, King Chiefs, they're from San Diego / Phoenix. So, you know, there's just a lot of really, I don't know. I'm stoked on all the bands we have.
We just recently added a band from Italy called the Marigold.
Okay. Very nice.
First international signing. Well, no, Full Tone Generator.
I was gonna say you just had one from Australia, so that's that's two. That's two though. That's
I feel
exciting.
like Full Tone Generator is from the California desert. Really, their whole vibe is that, you know. They did their first record with Brant Bjork.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
Cool. Well,
Wait, Scott should talk more about the Marigold. Those guys are rad too.
Yeah, I mean, that's the first of many more to come from Europe, and you know, that's a band that's put out a couple of albums. I believe this one's going to be their 4th, and they've just got this.
oh wow, okay.
They've got this really cool Melvins connection and vibe that it's definitely their own, but it definitely reminds you of some of the earlier things that the Melvins were doing, which was really exciting for us when we first listened to it. So they're going to be another great one. I mean, I think the thing with all the bands is they all just bring this really unique vibe to it. I mean, they're still just very true to themselves, but the uniqueness just shines through all the music. I mean, it's definitely we're not a widget factory, that's for sure. So
I think one of the things is we don't want to sign a band that sounds like, you know, we don't want another Mezzoa, you know?
Yeah.
That.
yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't think we'd ever want to get into a position where someone sees, oh, here's a Coffin and Bolt signings, like, oh, what is this? Like, well, it sounds like a Coffin and Bolt band.
Yeah.
And I think that can become a bit problematic and something that we want to avoid. And we're definitely not at that point now, which is, you know, kind of along with that conversation we were having earlier about the number of bands. I mean, there certainly is, with Golden Robot, there's certainly the capacity to push it as far as we really would want to, but that's not our objective at this point. We're keeping it small, want to have that boutique feel and be able to really just curate something that's really interesting artist to artist. That's what we're valuing. All those bands were just hand selected to start up, really by Cody and Dustin. It was like, these are the bands to build this from, kind of the pillars, and did an awesome job with that.
And we've wanted to, the whole thing was kind of to create a collective, you know, so that we would really encourage all the bands need to share each other's stuff, their posts, their news, their updates. Everyone's always hungry for content anyways. You know, some days you're like, man, this is a pain in the ass to find something to post.
Yeah.
So we really wanted it to be like, if you help these bands, you know, then when it's your turn, they're going to help you. And a lot of times it takes for everybody to meet each other too, know each other face to face. But I mean, from touring and everything, we just wanted to create a network and a family where it was like we all would help each other out, you know, because it's hard enough, you know, trying to get anything done now. So
yeah, and you know, that's something that I've seen a lot of, and I've been fortunate with some of the other artists on Golden Robot, is a lot of the bands that are signed to the label and the sub labels all support each other. And like Mark called me yesterday and was talking about, he just wanted to thank me, you know, for all the Golden Robot artists that I've been interviewing. And it's like, well, I'd want to talk to all these bands regardless if I was on the same label or not. And, you know, so that all the sentiments that you get from the other bands on the label come across as very genuine. And it's nice to see artists, you know, supporting the other artists on the label. And because the last thing that this industry needs right now is everybody fighting against each other. This is probably the weirdest time in the music industry, or just in the entire world for general. So, you know, the more cohesiveness that everybody can have together, it's just going to make for a better end result.
Well, and the basic fact of the better everyone does around you, the better you'll do, you know. I mean, you can't do everything alone. And I have noticed that with Golden Robot, a lot of the bands do follow Coffin and Bolt and Stone Deaf, and they, you know, they'll comment on stuff, and that's pretty rare, you know. I mean, it's hard to find a situation like that where everyone is on board and excited, you know. We had a meeting with a band last night, and one of the things they said from all of us talking to them, they were like, we really, really appreciate the enthusiasm that everybody has, you know, and that's what it's going to take for things to go further, is people being like, fuck yeah, not competitive in any way. Or
Absolutely. And I think, you know, that's kind of a testament to the team that Golden Robot and Mark and them have kind of built around them. It's like I said, Mark's a no bullshit kind of guy. So everything comes across as really genuine with the label, and it makes for a good experience for everybody on the label, no matter which label or sub label you're signed to. You are just an equal part to the whole Golden Robot machine.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, cool. So I appreciate you guys coming on here and giving me some of your time. I got a couple fun questions, you know, to kind of wrap this up. And like I said in the beginning, I kind of like taking a more personal approach to this, you know, not just asking the same questions that you get asked in every interview, and letting people kind of figure out who you are as people. So real quick, don't think about it too hard. I want each of you to give me your dream gear setup. You're going on tour. What are you taking out of the warehouse with you?
I'll start. I already got a 610 Atlas bass cabinet. I love it. It's heavy as fuck, but it's the most awesome cabinet I've ever played. Dustin has this like 2000s Fender Deluxe jazz bass that I'm gonna steal from him someday. I'm gonna take that with me. And amps are so many.
Don't think about it too hard. First thing that pops in your head.
You know, shit. I'm gonna stick with the PV bass 470.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
Dustin, what about you?
Man, I kind of have my dream set up. I mean, I use an Atlas 412 cab. They're a Colorado company. Petrus he's the man for building cabinets. They weigh double what a cabinet. What's that? Yeah, we call Cody's
sounds like we're
Punkla. It's so heavy. I mean, they weigh double probably what normal cabinets do, but they sound double what normal cabinets do. And then I play. I've had an Ampeg V4 head since high school, and that's, you know, now I take a V4B reissue on tour, but that's my dream head. And I've been playing these Schecter hollow bodies, which was strange. I mean, because they're kind of more known for metal.
Yeah.
I mean, they do this really cool, it's almost like a Rickenbacker, like a Rickenbacker hollow body guitar. I mean, they're very much like that, little mini humbuckers. And
I'll have to check those out. That sounds interesting.
It's the TSH. I mean, check it out. It's like one of my favorite guitars. And
send me some links after we get off of here. That sounds interesting. I want to check that out.
It's amazing. And then pedals. I mean, that's a whole other thing. I'm a total pedal dork with way too many. But, you know, but yeah, I mean, I feel like my rig is pretty dialed. So.
Nice. All right. What about the rest of you guys, the other two? Let's hear your dream gear setups. You're going on tour.
Go ahead, Scott.
Okay, if I must. All I want, I'll keep it short. The only thing I want is a Fender Jag Stang. That's
Okay.
it. I don't give a shit what else I have. It's like there's, like certain. I'm a huge Nirvana fan. They're like
I would assume so as soon as you said that, yeah.
right, far away.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. You just
Lost your sound.
Your sound's gone. Oh no, we can't hear you. I'll just insert some random audio into that for everybody watching at home and listening. Well, damn. All right, KP, you want to take the reins since his audio got cut off?
Yeah, sure. Scotty mentioned Nirvana. So with that kind of being said, drums, just keep it very simple. That's the thing you guys mentioned, Grohl as a god. So I kind of like the drums I play, heads, sticks, cymbals, they're all what Grohl uses. But
Oh, okay, nice.
you learn why, like simplicity is key. So I would just go DW drums, just simple rack tom, floor tom, ride, 2 crashes, hi-hats. Let's go out and play, like nothing too big. But that's kind of the other thing too, is I feel, you can play behind any instrument somebody puts in your hands. So I guess as a dream kit, just with what I have, because I'm kind of with the other guys on that. I have that dialed in pretty well.
Okay. Well, comfortableness and familiarity means a lot to, each musician's instrument. So I can totally relate to that sentiment.
Wait a second. Did I freeze during my big moment?
You didn't freeze. Your audio cut out. Your lips were still moving, but there wasn't anything coming out.
We heard all I want is a Jag Stang.
Yeah, we heard the Jag Stang. So
anything else would have been wasted air. So
what about your amp?
My amp, I know, I have an orange 412, and I've always wanted a dual rectifier.
Dude, I will say this orange makes
I
the
want
most
one of those
consistent.
Atlas 412s that Dustin's talking about.
Yeah.
Like those things are just sick.
They're check that company out, man. They're
Okay, for sure. I just
Scott? Or you said dual rectifier. Dual rectifier and a Atlas would be sick. Oh, you can't hear us.
Oh, I can hear you guys. Yeah, I can hear us. Yeah. I
No,
don't know why.
Yes, I'm pretending to be frozen now, just the momentum of everything. So I might just like that.
Great.
Sneaky.
It takes some of the pressure off. It's like maybe if they can't hear me, they'll quit asking me so many questions.
I do it in meetings all the time. If I'm asked something I don't want to respond to, I just pretend I'm frozen. Or just like, oh, Scott's computer's not working again.
That's awesome. That is great. I think I saw and read something here recently because, a lot of schools are doing the Zoom thing for their classrooms, and some kid had said his name is cannot connect for the entire of a day. Great shit like that. So one last one before we get out of here. Normally I do 5, but there's 4 of you guys, so we'll kind of narrow it down just to kind of jump through it. So top 3 Desert Island albums. What are you taking with you?
Oh man.
Don't think too hard about it.
somebody else got to go first on this one.
All right. I'll go first on this one. So you said 5, right? Or 3?
We'll do 3.
3. Okay. Definitely Foo Fighters Wasting Light, just because
that's my favorite Foo Fighters record, man.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna have to throw in Led Zeppelin 2. That album, one of the greatest.
My favorite Zeppelin record. I feel like me and you would get along real well.
My most favorite one, I'm gonna have to go probably Kiss Alive 1. I'm a huge Kiss fan. Have a Kiss collection. Love it. Oh,
yeah,
dude,
that's.
don't make
I know. It's hard to see right now, but that's almost. It's all their studio albums.
Oh Jesus. But yeah, I'd go Kiss Alive 1. I think that would be.
That's awesome.
Alive 1 is, it's most people always go for Alive 2, but I love those first 3 Kiss records. So honestly, if I'm taking Alive 1 or 2, I'm taking 1.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
I'll throw some shit out. I would say the first Queens of the Stone Age, self-titled.
Okay.
Probably Houses of the Holy
Nice.
and In Utero, maybe.
Okay.
So
In,
those are
In Utero is an odd choice for Nirvana fans, so, you know,
oh,
because
love it, dude.
yeah.
I mean, I love all Nirvana, but that one is, they're all, there's nothing of theirs I don't like. So, you know, but that one's special. It's weird in the best way.
There's some great tunes on that. Penny Royalty and, you know,
Yeah.
just a bunch
Yeah,
of great shit on that.
I could give you a totally different answer tomorrow, but let's just stick with that. For
Yeah,
now.
and you know, that's the interesting thing about this is you might listen back to this in a week and be like, why didn't I say this album instead of that album?
Honorable mention to White Pepper for Wayne.
Nice.
So there's one.
Okay, what about you got 2 left. Well, not you. I meant there's 2 guys left, so.
Yep.
I was gonna say Nirvana In Utero also, but if I did In Utero, it'd have to be the deluxe edition because it has Sappy on there, and that's my favorite.
Okay.
That's
So
my-
I'll go with Muddy Banks of the Wishkah, their live album.
Okay.
I'll do that. I would say the other one would be 9 Inch Nails, The Fragile. It's a double disc, but it's one container. We'll count it.
Yeah, of course.
And then I would have to go with, Ziggy Stardust.
Very nice. Yeah. Great album.
Yeah.
I guess I would say Songs for the Deaf, Queens of the Stone Age.
Some more Dave Grohl.
Crack the Sky from Mastodon.
Very nice. Yeah. See, that's the cool part about this is that you hear shit and you're like, why didn't I say that?
Oh, and this one's gonna be different. Probably Some Girls from Rolling Stones.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
I can listen to that over and over and over.
Nice.
My favorite Stones record.
Very nice. A very good taste in music that you guys have. KP, I feel like me and you would get along real well on our musical tastes. So I'll get you back on here sometime and we'll just talk about Kiss or something. So
You guys gotta do that, please. I don't know if you saw the Glass tonight.
oh shit, nice. Very nice.
Ace Frehley is why I play guitar, you know.
Yeah, you can't see it, but I've got the Ace poster from Dynasty, you know, where he's sticking his arms like that. And then I've got all the Ace LPs around it. And I do have these, which I sent one of them out yesterday, but the new Ace Frehley picture disc.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, I picked up one. I got 5. I was able to score 5 copies of this on Record Store Day the other day. So I got one for myself, and then all the other 4 guys in Ace's band got them each a copy of it. And if you flip it or if you open it and flip it on the other side, it's got the cartoon Ace with Jeremy and Phil also on that side of the disc. So it's pretty cool looking.
We saw him at Psycho like 2 years ago. Are you
Okay.
familiar with Psycho in Vegas?
I am not.
Like big festival. It's, you know, a lot more kind of doom and stoner rock, but it's gotten really big. And he played, you know, the main big stage. And we were with a friend.
Which
and she
lineup was
looked
that
like-
with? Was that when Richie Scarlett and them were still in the band, or was that with the new lineup?
I don't know who else was. I haven't kept track of the other people in the band, but we were with a friend and she was like, let's go up front. And she got us right in front of Ace and
Nice.
some of his guitars blowing on us and shit. And I was just like, the 8-year-old me was losing my shit. You know?
Of course, you know, and I always say Ace Frehley's who taught me how to solo on the guitar.
Oh yeah. Dude,
Yeah.
all day. Yeah.
It's like once I started playing the Kiss stuff, it's like I felt like a rock star because I could play all those solos, and you know, I still that sound is very much a big part of mine. And now I get the honor of saying that me and Ace share a drummer and a guitarist because Matt Starr, his drummer, and
Oh
Jeremy
no shit.
Yeah, Matt Starr and Jeremy Asbrock are both in Minefield with me and Todd
Get the
Kearns.
fuck outta here.
So yeah, it's, you know, I interviewed Todd last night, and I say interview lightly because me and him are friends now, and you know, it was just kind of like us hanging out and bullshitting for like 2 hours. But you know, me personally, Slash and Ace Frehley are the 2 reasons that I play guitar. They are my 2 favorite guitarists. and I've now constructed a band where it only consists of guys from Slash and Ace Frehley's band.
Yeah.
So it's, and those guys are all fantastic musicians. So it's an honor to be working with those guys. So I love hearing the Kiss sentiments from other people.
I mean, it's why I play music, like tell Ace I said hi if you're hanging out with him.
Unfortunately, I haven't got the honor to do that yet. So hopefully one day I'll be able to mark that off the bucket list. I'm playing at the Kiss Expo this month actually. I forget, it's now December. But they're Christmas 2020. It's the Kiss Expo for Christmas down in Florida. December 18th and 19th, and all of Ace's band will be there besides Ace, and Matt Starr won't be there, but Phil Ryan and Jeremy will be there. Bruce Kulick is streaming a set with Todd, so a bunch of cool shit is going on for that.
Good for you, man. That's amazing. Good for you.
The band I'm playing with that night, it's me and Kurt Frolick from LA Guns, Steve Riley's LA Guns. Me and him, the drummer from my GNR tribute band. And then bass is being handled by a bunch of guest musicians that are also playing that night. So we're just doing a bunch of Kiss classics. So y'all have to get you some live streaming tickets for that. There's a whole production crew going to be live streaming the entire weekend. So if y'all are Kiss fans, you'll have to tune into that.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah.
Well, cool. I appreciate you guys coming on here and giving me some of your time. For everybody that's listening, I've got the guys from Stone Deaf and Coffin Bolt Records here. The new single Cloven Hoof was out last week. Go stream it, share it. Thank you guys so much for coming on, and we'll say goodbye off air here in a second. I'm going to go and end the show. Thank you all for tuning in tonight.